Okay, TP2 here. I'm planting some jalapeno gigantea peppers in my Back to Eden garden. As you can see, this is all covered with wood chips. It's about a 40 by 50, maybe 50 by 50 area. And until this mulches down good, this is not easy to do. Kind of a pain in the butt. You've got to dig up, because these chips are, shoot, these chips are 8 inches deep probably or more. So what I have to do is dig down till I hit the clay, because that's what I've got here. And then I've got some where is it? I've got some compost here that I'm putting in the hole just to give the plants a good start, so they won't have to bite into that clay right off the bat. And then I'm covering up with chips to a certain extent. As you can see, they're holes, and as the plant raises up, gets taller, then I'll fill all this hole in, and it'll all be level. But let me dig a hole and I'll show you what I'm talking about. This is planting in the Back to Eden garden. To show you what I was talking about when I say under these wood chips is clay. That is hard as a rock, red with tinges of yellow in it. Clay, lumpy, clumpy, nothing but sticky, gooey clay. But where the wood chips have been, it is turned into black gold. So, big believer in this. The benefit to me, because my ground is so crappy, there's just clay, clay, clay everywhere you look. To me, the benefit is in a few seasons, next season or the one after, all of this should be mulched down real nicely, and my clay garden will be a thing of the past. It will all be just kind of a mulch garden. So that's the plan, and so it's worth a year or two of having to dig these holes and plant them this way. I could have just left it fallow, just left it here to mulch. Anyway, just thought I'd show you what I'm doing. Planting some peppers. Jalapeno gigantea. Those are raised in the greenhouse, and they are, 8 inches tall, something like that, standing up nice and pretty. And we're just sticking them in the ground. Continuing planting the Back to Eden garden. This stretch here, this area here, did about 2 years ago, and did it deep, probably 8 inches deep. Had some hay on it at first, then I put the chips on it. And this is what you should expect. That is by no means my soil. Again, I have red clay, yellow clay, nappy clay. But that's what you make underneath. I just dug this up, dug a little hole. I'm putting the squash in, and I'm still using a little compost, and then I'm covering them up pretty tall with the wood chips, and I'll show you when I'm through the row. But it looks good, and don't be afraid of what I just showed you on the other side, that the wood chips are so deep you have to really dig a big hole to get down to the dirt. Okay, and one of the simplest things to plant using the this method, the Back to Eden, is just seeds, and just rake it back. This is a fence. I'm going to plant some Kentucky Wonder pole beans. I don't know what I'm getting this in the frame, trying to rake. But anyway, just basically rake it back. And I don't have that many. And just put your seeds in, and then cover it back up, and you'll cover it back up with some of this wonderful mulch that was scratched up when I scratched it, and also with the chips. So that's the way to plant from seed. You have to get down to the soil, which that is down to the soil. In fact, the soil is really compost now. Now, there's some red clay down there, but by and large on top now, it's on top of the clay there's probably an inch or more layer of black gold. Good stuff. So cover it back up, just cover the seeds back up, and you know, with an inch or so of the mulch and compost and stuff, and it'll pop right up through it, and I'll show you it when it do. And then my grow arches, I hope you can see that. See the grow arch? I have 3 of them here. Back off and frame it somewhat. And those I'm going to do with cucumbers and probably a Hubbard butternut squash, maybe a vegetable spaghetti squash. And if you haven't tried vegetable spaghetti squash, you need to try that. That is some good stuff. But they are, because they are climbing vegetables, they will climb all up that from both sides. And I'll just, like I did before, I'll scratch it up right there at the base, scratch it up right there at the base, and plant the seeds, and they will climb that. And I'll have cucumbers, and you just walk through and you just pick the cucumbers. It's so nice. And it's I've got these tomatoes planted in between the grow arches, and these are cherry tomatoes, which means they're indeterminate. They're an indeterminate tomato, which means they will get tall. So I will use this this structure here as a string, and I will tie my tomatoes off between the two, between the 3 grow arches, and use the grow arches not just to do that, but pulling some double duty here. They're going to hold up also my tomatoes. So go back and watch my film, my video, vertical gardening with grow arches. It's just kind of something I came up with, another use for a cattle panel. And I've even got a couple of follow-ups, I think, to that one that I'll put down there about right now. And you can see some of the stuff growing. I had some trombone squash. I had a 30-inch trombone squash hanging from one of these a couple of years ago. And then this I didn't show you. This is after I'm through with the squash. Then I just mound it back up and mound the wood chips around it. Now, if you can't find wood chips, everybody's kind of, when they talk about back to Eden Garden, they talk about wood chips. Get some hay. It doesn't have to be wood chips. Just something that was alive. Grass, wood chips, hay. There's just a lot of different things you can use. So I am not at all, even though it's a little harder when you make them deep and you got to dig deep. Next year it won't be anything like that. Next year it'll be like this, which I just barely had to get down into the chips and found all the black gold down there. So I've made this a little long, but I just want to remind you of the grow arches. And if you haven't tried, grown using a grow arch, let me just tell you how I fasten them. I just cut some T-posts off, some old ones that were kind of bent. I pulled them up over the years and whatever, and they've kind of bent. So I just pulled some T-posts up. Those are 2 feet long. I drove them in the ground for about a foot and left about a foot sticking up. And just tied down here. I got some wire down there, tying the bottom to it, and they're not going to go anywhere. I just put my T-post 48 inches apart. The panels are 50 inches, so it just sits right inside the panel. So I think I have explained everything I'm doing. I believe that's going to do it. We've talked long enough. Whew, I catch my breath. We're gone.